Hey, g'day everyone. Hey, Paul and Tony and Mark. I think we've got a few more that are joining us either via the phone. Bridget's coming on. Hey, Bridget, how are you? That's good. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. Okay, well, welcome. I'm going to, hang on, I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Well, I think there's a few others joining us, but we'll get started. And I know some people have registered just to the recording afterwards as well. But I really want to thank you for joining in as we go through and look at the one-page business plan that's easy and works, that works and in record time. So I'm just going to go through and say welcome to you. Can I just have, why don't we just go around, let me just stop sharing the screen for a moment. We've got different people online. Actually, to start with, can I get everyone to mute themselves? Do you know how to do that? So just down in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a mute button. So Paul, I don't know whether you can mute yourself.
I'm not sure. I'm on an iPad.
You're on an iPad, Marilyn, and then someone's online as well. Okay. I wonder if I can mute you guys.
Where's your echoing right through every time you speak? We've got an echo.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm just trying to mute here. Okay, is that better? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I think someone was echoing on their thing. So if I'm not echoing now, that's better. Okay, can we just go around and just, because it's a smaller group and this webinar is not for me, it's for you. So I want to maybe just quickly go around and maybe introduce yourself and say what you're looking for, trying to get out of today as well. So Paul, if I unmute you, can you just give us a brief description of who you are and what you're hoping to get out of today?
Okay, well, I'm an entrepreneur, which basically started over 1 year ago after a bit of a shock redundancy. I build websites, I do digital photography, I do video editing, and I build CRM. Most people are like, what's that? It stands for Customer Relationship Management Software. And today, I want to learn how to write my own business plan, because that's something which I've been putting on the back burner for a very long time now. The first reason which springs to mind is, well, I really don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's excellent. That's good. You're in the right place today. So that's good. That's excellent. So thank you for that. I'm just going to unmute you again. Tony, what about you? What would you like to get out? Just quickly introduce yourself and what you're hoping to get out today as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Tony. I've come out of a teaching background, so we've never had to have business plans. And so I now have stepped into multi-level marketing companies, and I would like to be able to do a business plan like Paul just said. Never had to do one, and all the ones that I've ever looked at and tried to do are so huge that it's like, oh no, that's beyond my capabilities. So I love the one-page thing. Yes. So I thought, yes, I get to finally know how to do a business plan. Yes. So thank you very much, Wes.
Thanks, Tony. That's great. Okay, Mark, I'm just unmuting you. Do you want to, oh, hang on, unmute. I think, Mark, maybe you've muted yourself. Do you want to quickly say, introduce yourself and say what you're hoping to get out of today as well?
Okay, my name's Mark Bayless, and I'm a traffic controller, but at the moment I'm in the process of starting up my own business, building bird aviaries and brooding boxes. And I want to learn how to do a business plan because I've never done one either. Don't even know what it would look like.
That's good. That's good to hear. Excellent. Thanks, Mark. It's great to have you online. Bridget, welcome. Do you want to unmute yourself, Bridget, and just explain?
Hi, I'm Bridget. Can you hear me okay?
You can. It's great.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just in retail myself. So my husband and I have a couple of shops in Brisbane. And yeah, the retail world is changing. So we want to be looking at other business opportunities as well as just one of the businesses is sort of redefining itself. So it's always a good thing to do a one-page business plan, not multiple pages. So I look forward to that. And also with the House of Prayer, obviously, as a not-for-profit, we're redefining ourselves there too. So yeah, that's probably, I've come from the not-for-profit and also the business side. So yeah, thanks, Wes.
It's great. Thanks for having you here. Marilyn, do you want to quickly introduce yourself and go from there? Marilyn, I can't hear you. You're talking. Maybe something's not working your end. I don't think you're muted, so no, we're not gonna. Okay, Marilyn, I don't know what's happening there, so you can see that. Okay, there's somebody phoned in via the phone. I've just unmuted you. I don't know who you are. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself? No. Okay, well, no, they've gone. I've lost them. Okay, excellent. Okay, well, there. So that gives me a good idea of who's on the line and what you're hoping to get out of it as well, which is great. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Okay, and I need to move you around. Okay, so welcome everyone. Just some housekeeping things. So just asking if you can keep yourself on mute unless you're talking. That just helps, particularly if there's a background noise and things like that. Make full use of the chat box. I don't know if you know there's a chat box down the bottom. So feel free to, I'll just send you guys a chat message so you'll see that comes up and there's a chat box that's there. So you can either chat to specific, so there may be someone else online that you actually want to talk to specifically, or you want to ask some group questions, and we can do that as well.
Wes, I think I'm going now.
Hey, you are, Marilyn. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself? And
yeah, I'm Marilyn Rossum. I come from a teaching background. Missionary in Papua New Guinea many years, now working with Canberra Declaration, and used to be National Day of Prayer and Fasting too. I'm focusing on the volunteers. I have over 1,000 volunteers, but have never had time to mobilise them. So I need to have a plan.
Need a plan.
How do I put all these volunteers to work and organise it and manage it so I don't do all the work? Yep, that's my need.
Good. Well, some of the stuff today will help you in doing that, so that's great. Thanks, Marilyn. Okay, so just the thing, this webinar is for you. It's not for me. I don't get thrills out of listening to my own voice. So if you, please, if you want to stop me as we go through, we are going to try and stick to the hour as closely as we can today as well, because I value your time and things as well. and we'll be making this available to you so that you can access later on. So is there anyone got any questions before I move forward? You're okay with using Zoom, or any other questions along those lines? Got a chat coming in. Not me. Excellent. Okay. So I want to check too, have you actually been able to download the Co-Starters Business Canvas? So if you go to costarters.co, I'm just going up to that website now. You can, my internet's a bit slow today, just what you need. So you go to costarters.co, there's a place there to actually download the one-page canvas from. That's not going to go as quickly as I want it to do. So let me just stop sharing the screen and I'll show you what it looks like. So I don't know whether you can see it. So I actually have an A3 version of it there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through it section by section today. So if you haven't had a chance to download it yet, you'll be able to, and then we can talk about it as we go. Hang on, let me see. The Co-Starters website just came back up. So you can see, if you just go down a bit, you can just hit there, download the canvas, and you can download it, and there it comes up on your screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the different segments, and I'm going to briefly share with you today, go maybe some detail on some, not so much on others, so that you get an idea. Different ones of you are going to be in different places at the moment of your business, so one thing may strike you more than another. So feel free to stop me and ask me questions as we go on that today. Okay, I'm going to switch back to my PowerPoint there. Okay, so we start. Why do a business plan? Well, that's a very good question. So it's really because those who plan to fail to plan is basically the bottom line. And it allows you to actually think through what it is we're doing and where we're going with it, and to kind of pre-plan what may come up for you. So a lot of people do business plans mainly if they've got to go to the bank or to borrow money. The bank's going to want to know what it is doing, but they forget. Then they spend all this time and effort. And I think, Tony, you mentioned before, you've seen this thing that's pages and pages and pages long, but how do we actually put it to a simple one together that we're going to use and it's very visual, and that we can go from there. So I'm going to talk a bit about Co-Starters a bit today. So just so you know what it is, so Co-Starters is a 9-week cohort-based program that equips aspiring entrepreneurs with the insights, relationships, and tools needed to turn business ideas into action and turn a passion into a sustainable and thriving endeavor. So while it's mainly aimed at those starting up in business, like what we've found over the last couple of years that I've been working with business owners is a lot of them actually have not had any training in business as well. So it's a brilliant program for that. But today we're just going to focus on the business canvas that they use. And just to give you some history of this, so this is, if you actually go to businessmodelgeneration.com, the canvas that we're using is an adaptation from that. So this canvas is being developed. I think as we go into this, strategizer.com, there's a lot of people who've used this. This is over 5 million people are using it around the world. And you've got other more detailed courses that if you want to go there, you can go there. So we use this canvas under copyright license from them. It's there's a funny word for it. Anyhow, it's adapted from that. So we've taken it, and it's a free thing that we give away to people in doing that. So let's go back and have a look at the canvas. Let's switch over. So you'll see that on the business canvas, which I'm going to bring up here again, is the first thing is we look at is customers. So you can see customer there. Now, so with your customer is, the question is, who is your customer? And one of the things I want to tell you, let me just stop sharing the screen for a moment, is, guys, see these little things? They're sticky notes. So what we actually encourage you to do is to not actually write directly on this canvas, but to get these little sticky notes and to start writing your different ideas and things on them, and then stick it on the canvas. So it's a very little thing. So in the end, you're going to end up with all this colorful thing of putting it on and that you keep up on the wall. And the other reason why we do that is because it's going to change. As you grow and develop, and so for example, we're going to talk about customers now. Who is your customer? You may find out that your customer is different to who you perceive that your customer is going to be. So does that make sense? Just give me a thumbs up if it makes sense. So it's a very good idea. So you're going to end up, and some of the ones that we've been working on, you actually end up with all these stickers all over it, and you can cut and paste. And I've been finding, as I've been using it these last couple of weeks and getting to know it, is that it changes all the time in doing that. So it's a very handy thing. Okay, so let me go back to sharing the screen again. So let me talk about who is your customer. So one of the main things that we like is, who do you serve? And the other thing is to think you actually may have more than one customer. So Bridget, for example, you've got the outdoor furniture, but you may have, I'm going to see you actually, let me just stop sharing this. You may have more than one different type of customer. Hang on, I'm just going to stop sharing this so that I can, that's better. I need to see people when I'm talking, and I don't like it when I can't see people. It just helps me. Okay, so you may have more than one different type of customer. So like Bridget, you sell, you've got furniture, you've got fire pits, you've got garden sheds, all different types of things. You've got cushions. So different people may actually buy all of those, but some of them may buy different ones. And then you're in different geographical areas as well. So your customer, say for a Stafford store, may be very different to a customer for an Aspley store because they may have different demographics or social graphics. They may have different income levels or those kind of things as well. Doing that. So when you're looking at your customer, some of the questions you're going to ask is, who do you serve? What's their demographics? What's their sociographics? So are they male or female? Are they gender neutral? It could well be the case these days. What's their income levels that you're looking at? What's their age levels? Are you mainly aiming at children? Are you aiming at preteens? Are you aiming at young married couples? Are you aiming at single people of different age groups and range? So they're the things you need to look at. Look at who's your market, who your competitors. So who are you competing against that's out there? What are the unmet needs of your customer? Why are they coming to you to buy? So it could be that they want to furnish their outdoors, or for Paul, it could be they need a good CRM system, and they're looking at the market and they don't know which CRM system suits them. So what are their unmet needs? So if you're looking, so an unmet need for a CRM system, maybe, how do I know who my customers are and when I've had contact with them, and how do I automate my contact with them, for example? Identity. What are their fears? So what are your customers afraid of? What are their frustrations? What's their wants and what's their aspirations? So you could go through and have different ones of those for each different demographic that you're serving as well. So that's huge options for you as well. So actually, the benefit of getting your customer right is that you can know who you're talking to and aim things specifically at them. And so you may have a range of different customers. So if you think about McDonald's, for example, McDonald's targets different customers. So like historically, they've targeted children so that they can get the parents to come in. So, but now they're, targeting things on fresh food, or they're targeting coffee people, early morning coffee drinkers, drive through on the way to work, which seems to be working because their drive throughs are always full in the morning. So they get their coffee and maybe something to eat as they go. They may be targeting, like it's a fine dining place now. So it's a different demographic because they're charging more for those, for example. Any questions about customers and thinking about who your customer is? Everybody's okay? Let's stop sharing Zoom. Everyone's okay with it? Good. Okay. So the next one that we go to and look at, I'm going to bring that up and start sharing screen again. I'm having fun going back and forth between these today. Okay. Well, I just want to quickly talk about, so one of the things with customers is you can do a lot. It costs a lot to gain a new customer, but you also need to think about the why do your clients leave? So, and it's not what you think. So 1% will leave because they die, or they move, or they buy from a friend, or the price. Not only 9% is price. 14% would be dissatisfied with your service, but the main thing there is perceived indifference. So your clients believe you don't care about them. So that's scary. So how do you, when you're thinking about customers and thinking about building things in, how do you know that you care about them? How are they going to know that you care about them? And so the cost of retaining an existing customer is 10%, but the cost is 10% the cost of acquiring a new customer. So a 5% improvement in customer retention equals a 25 to 80% improvement in profitability. So it reduces your marketing costs. It's easier to upsell existing customers. Their nurtured customers make 47% larger purchase than non-nurtured leads. So, like, while that's not telling you about the business plan today, I just wanted to put that in there, because right from the start, you need to be thinking about not just obtaining a customer, but how do you actually go on and continue the relationship with your customers as well. And some sales statistics as well. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. And only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. But actually, most of the sales occur between the 5th and the 12th contact. So like, I know this, that sometimes you feel like you're hammering people, thinking, oh, they're going to get sick of me talking to them. But actually, the more that you talk to them, the more you build relationship with them, the more likely they're going to actually purchase from you. So you need to build that in, and you need to not give up early in that sense as well. Okay, next one is, what is the problem that your customer is facing? So it could be the problem that they're facing could be a health issue, for example. So Tony, you've got a product that helps them on their health issues. So is that the problem that they're asking? Ask yourself, what pain does your customer have? What are the main challenges that they are facing? What do they want that they can't have? And how do you know this? So one of the ways to do this is actually to sit down and talk to customers and find out from them what is it. Or it could be that you're in a situation where you've gone into the business because you know that you're lacking that particular thing and looking for an outcome for that. So there's some of the things that you need to look at doing is what problem do they have? So it's from there that we look at addressing them. So again, on the problem stage, you get your little sticky notes out and write down the various problems that they have that you're solving. Next one is think about how is your customer currently solving the problem? So in other words, so are they going to another competitor? So for the CRM system, so what are they doing with it? Do they have a stack of cards that they're using? Are they, do they have an outdated computer system? Do you have an online system or a system that only one person can access? What are they? What are the alternative solutions to the problem? So you could look at, well, what are actually all the different CRMs on the market at the moment and compare them and work out why is what you're offering the better one. Or it could be that you're actually going to offer them a range of different CRMs they can choose from, and you can assess what their current needs are and recommend that particular CRM system to them. So look at the alternatives. So Bridget, for you is, where else do they go to? Do they go to Bunnings, or do they go to other outdoor furniture places? Do they buy it online? Do they go to eBay? Do they buy secondhand? So you can look at all the different alternatives that they've got. Okay, so the next one is solution. So what do you offer your customer, and what does your customer get from you? So you need to think about this. So some questions here that you need to, those are key things. What are you actually offering your customer? So are you offering your customer peace of mind? Are you offering your customer a home that they, like with the outdoor furniture, a place where people can gather and entertain? What is it that you're actually offering them, and what are they getting it from? So this comes down to the benefit is why your solution matters to your customer. So typically the benefit is not a physical attribute, but it's more an emotional and tangible. So what is that? And think about that, and you may talk to others, do some research, talk to your customers, find out what is it they're actually looking for. What is it that's actually keeping them up at night, and how are you providing the solution to that problem so that they're not doing that? They're still sleeping. Okay. Benefit. What does your customer want? There's a typo there. Why does your customer want your product or service, and how do you solve that problem? So you need to think clearly through that. What is the benefit that I'm actually giving them? And this may happen over time as you start to talk to customers and things like that as well. One of the things we do in our co-stars is we actually have an interview form that you can go through and interview your customers and ask them what it is that you're looking at. Keep hitting the wrong thing here. Advantage. What gives you the advantage over the alternative? So, Paul, for you, it might be, what are the different advantages of the different CRM systems? So this one does this one does this one does this. It may not just be a price advantage, although sometimes it's going to come down to that. But what are the bells and whistles that you can provide them with? And the other thing, why are you the best person to do this for them? So it could well be that one thing I want to encourage you here is that you are an asset. So people buying from you is key. So Tony, you are an asset. You can build relationship with people. You can assess them. In your case, you can prophetically determine what's going on as well. And you are an advantage to your customers, who they are. So don't discount that. So one of the key things I often talk to people in business about is that your worth. You are 100% worthy 100% of the time. So what you are offering to people is actually very key. So don't discount that you're part of the advantage, and don't discount how much you're selling yourself to people as well. Like we're putting a new product together at the moment, and I was looking at pricing actually this morning as I was working through things, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm selling that too cheap. We've got to up the price. It is. I tell you a funny story. I knew some guys. They used to have a bridal decoration company. So they were providing bridal decorations to people, and they weren't getting anywhere. So the owner of the business actually took his price list and multiplied it by 3, and the business took off. So it was a crazy thing, because people were thinking, it's a wedding. I don't want to be cheap at a wedding. I want to give my daughter something nice, or, you know, something like that. And once he tripled his prices, the business just took off. And of course they did very well. So that depends on where you're pricing yourself in the market too. But, you know, so often it's better to have, you've got to have different levels of product for different people that you're aiming for. Like if you're targeting, let's look around Brisbane. So Bridget, for example, if you wanted to start to target Hamilton, Ascot, Clayfield areas, they're more the upper class. So you wouldn't come in and sell them a chair for $10. You know, you would offer them a chair for $100 or $200. Now, the chair may still only cost you $5, but you know what? You're presenting it in a way that actually this is a solution for them. And it's not that you're price gouging them. It's like you're putting together something that's for them and suits their needs. You're listening to them and you're targeting that particular market in doing that. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, in doing that. So don't discount that you're the advantage to that, and that you are worthy to receive a decent amount of money for the service that you're offering. Now, is everyone going to accept your service? No, but that's okay, because there's bigger, there's more fish in the sea. You know, they say that for when you're choosing a partner, but it's once you get to know who your customer is and be able to target to them specifically, you will pick out who they are, and you'll work out where is the price point that would suit that market. And you have to keep your eye on that, because things are changing quite a lot too. The economy is changing. Like if the economy is on the way up, you're probably going to be able to get away with selling things at a higher price. If it's on the way down, it's going to be a different thing. So you need to look at that, and you do need to look at what your competitors are doing as well. But you need to distinguish yourself as well. Okay. Please stop at any time and ask me questions as well. So the next one is your message. So what is your story, and how does your customer hear it? So your story is very key. So Tony, why do you use your product, for example? You know, so what's your story behind it? You know, you take these vitamins and you've lost this amount of weight, or you know what I'm saying? You've got to think about, what is your story? What's your story behind it? Bridget, what's your story behind your business? You know, what is it that what's the message that you're trying to get across to your customers in doing that? What is your story? And the next one is, how does your customer hear it? So there's, you could have the best product in the world, like, you always talk about sliced bread. You know, what was the best product since before sliced bread? You know, but actually the guy who invented sliced bread had a huge problem trying to tell his story. And it wasn't until a huge problem actually trying to sell sliced bread. You wouldn't think about it. But Tip Top came along and saw the idea and then put a story with it. They said, you know, Mum, save yourselves time and energy in the morning, you know, making kids sandwiches, you know, those kind of things. And so what is the story that goes with the product? The next one is, how does your customer hear about it? So do they hear about it through social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, or do they hear about it word of mouth? So when you're looking for a product or service, where do you go? And that's what you need. So if someone's looking for a CRM system, where do they go to? Who do they find out? A lot of times it's a word of mouth thing or something along those lines. So you've got to be thinking about, where do I need to have my message so that they can hear it? So if you're, I don't know, selling lawnmowers or something, you know, where do, I know who buys lawnmowers? Probably men in a certain age range, or there'll be women who buy them as well. So you got to, you know, maybe different lawnmowers for different people. Where do they go to hear about it? And so think about that. Where, just trying to come up with some example, but I think you understand what I need. The next one is distribution. So how does someone actually get your product? So if you're, you know, take the example of milk. Like in days gone by, milk used to be delivered to your front door. You know, I remember this. You know, it came in bottles. Do you remember this? And every night you'd put out your money on the doorstep, and you put out your empty bottles, and they'd come and collect them, and then they'd get your milk. So your milk was delivered every day. Does that happen anymore? No. So where do you go to get your milk? So then you went to your corner store, but now they've got you going to Woolies and Coles, don't they? And where do they put it? Right down the back of the shop. So you're buying extra things. So you just go down to the shop to get milk, and you come home with $30 worth of stuff. Drives my wife insane what I do. So drives me insane too sometimes. So it's how did people get your product? One of the and you need to think about this clearly. So, for example, one of the guys that was doing some training within Co-Starters, his mates developed this tequila to sell in very fancy bottles that they're going to distribute via DHL, you know, curing them to them. But when they actually found out about it, they found out that the bottles were just a little bit too big for the package, for the box they've been putting in through. So instead of being able to put 6 bottles in a package, they could only put 4. And then they had all this blank space. So you've got to think about your distribution. Are you freighting it to people? Are people coming to get you? How is it, and how are you going to package it accordingly? So think about those kind of things. Is it something that's going to sell through the supermarket? Then who do you need to talk to? So to get into, say, Coles and Woolworths or IGAs or independent stores, who are the people that you talk to get it there? But then you've also got to let people know that this is where you buy things from as well. I want to do an update here. So this is where you buy things from as well. So you've got to think about those things. Do they go online and then it turns up in the mail, or do they come to your store, or do you deliver it to them personally? What's that like? So think through the distribution, or it could be a combination of those. It's interesting now with Uber Eats and Foodora and Deliveroo, like a lot of places now, so takeaways, for example, people are not coming to the store anymore. They're getting it delivered straight to their home. And I was talking to one restaurant owner recently who's increased his sales by $1,000 a week since he's put in Uber Eats, and most of those are new customers. So they're no longer, so that makes huge difference to where your message is going as well. And what could you then do to keep those people coming back? Because you've suddenly got a lot more competition in those. So you've got to think about those kind of things as well. Okay, so it's distribution. Next one is revenue. So think of how do you actually make money from your customers? Now, I know this sounds obvious, but you've got to think about this. How do you make money from that? So how are you selling it? So one of the things, Paul, with CRM system, if you're, say you are selling Dynamic 365, the Microsoft CRM system, like they're paying Microsoft a subscription for that. But do you get a cut of the money for that? But if you're doing that, you're not going to get a lot of money. But do you make your money in implementation of the system? So what's your consulting fees that go alongside that, and how do you charge for that in doing that? And what's your ongoing thing and management for those kind of things? So you need to think about revenue. Because let me tell you, if no money's coming in, you've got no money to go out. You're doing that, and that's the crux of the system. And you need to think about your revenue model. Are you using? Do you have a subscription base where people are subscribing to you on a regular basis? Is it a one-off thing? So if it's a one-off customer, it was interesting. I was talking to someone the other day about their coaching. So they've got to have a third of customers wanting to come in. They've got about a third of customers they're managing at the moment. About a third of them are leaving because they have them for a 3-month system. So they've got to constantly be bringing new people in. And it says, but how do you actually make money? The other thing I'd say with that is, how do you take money from people as well? So are you offering credit cards? Are you offering bank direct debit? The latest one that's coming on the market now is a thing called Afterpay, where people can pay it off. So Bridget, I don't know whether people coming in, and actually very interesting. I had a long talk last night with someone who's in credit reporting. He works for Dun & Bradstreet, and he was talking about how all the different companies and the different services they're offering now to get people to pay. So you've kind of got to have a wide range of options depending on what's happening, so people can, because they may simply go somewhere else simply because of the payment option that you have. So you have to think about that as well. And it is a big thing. And this is nothing new. I was reading a book written in the 1920s the other week, and it talked about you've got to offer them payment plan situations. Often people have had lay-bys or those kind of things. So it's been around a long time. We have a lot of people in financial distress at the moment. So how does that work? So think about those kind of things. So there's a lot to think about there in the revenue area. Now, some of you are in startup and some of you are ongoing. So there's 2 different things you need to look up in what's your startup needs. So these are generally like, what's your one-time things to get started? So, for example, if you're going to go into business, you've got all the company and stuff to set up, or the trust to set up, all those initial upfront things that you need. So that's a one-time cost you've got going up, or you need to buy a certain computer system or whatever it may be. But look at people. Now, your startup needs are not just money. It's about people, things, technology, and activities. And look, there's something, I did another seminar on networking, and a guy called Bob Bodine has a book called The Power of Who. So who are the people? He has an interesting philosophy that we already know the people that we need to help us. So actually having a look at who are the people that we have around us who can get us up and going. So there may be already people in the industry, or there may be people who know somebody. So developing those people relationships are very key, because people do business with those they know, they like, and they trust. So are you someone that they know, they like, and they trust? So think about those kind of things as well. Great to have you on, Jens. So think about your startup needs and those things. So money, people, things, technology, activities. So it could be, like in your case, Bridget, it's about the store. Like your location of store is a big thing, and you know that, you've been through that. And if you choose the wrong location, you could actually stuff things up quite, if people can't actually access the store or those kind of things, to think about that. Technology is a big thing these days. Like I think only 30% of people have an iPhone. So if you're doing an app, if you only do an app for your iPhone, you're limiting 70%, you're discounting 70% of the market straight up. So you need to have an app for both. So you've got to think about those kind of things as well. Okay, we've got a chat coming in. Let me just check that. Activities. Did I miss one? Tony, do you want to explain activities a bit more? What you're actually asking there? So think about those. So the next one is, hang on, someone came along. No, so okay.
Whereas with the activities, I was just thinking, explain some activities, give an example.
So which segment was that under? So under, can you remember what topic that was under?
Under startup needs, I think.
Oh, startup needs. Okay.
Yeah.
So startup activity. Well, so an activity may be a launch of your business, for example. So actually having a launch party, and getting people together. Actually, I was listening to something the other day. People who launch well succeed well in their business, because they bring their people in, that people get a taste of it, and then they get the word of mouth thing happening, and doing that as well. Okay, does that answer your question? I'm trying to think of other activities. It may be there's different things you're doing at the startup stage. Like you'd be doing a lot more interviewing of customers, a lot more trying to test out the market. You may be going out a lot more. Like if you've got a food you're trying to sell, food product you're trying to sell in a supermarket, you'd be going out and trialing it a bit more and doing those kind of things. But you're also getting the recipe right and getting things right. A big thing in this area is pivoting too. So a pivoting is where you change. So like often a product would start to take off and then it matures and comes down again. The point, you've got to be able to keep pivoting to change. So the example I always use is McDonald's. So is McDonald's restaurant the same now as what it was when you were a kid? No. So they've pivoted at different stages, haven't they? Like they've literally gone through and pretty much knocked down every McDonald's store in Australia and rebuilt them. Like they started off by adding takeaway. They added breakfast. They've added McCafe. They've added a healthy range option. They've got it's not, you used to go in and the food was already there and they just take it. Now it's made as as you order because Subway came in so strong. So think about all the different ways that McDonald's has changed over the years. And how is your business going to change? And so that's going to be. So I had this guy once, he said to me, Wes, why do you keep changing what you're offering? And I'm thinking, mate, because it's what my customer wants. The best experiences you have is talking to your customers and going with them. Like, Bridget, I don't know whether you guys actually go into people's homes and see how they're actually using your product in their homes and checking that out and seeing ideas or going, having a look around. Esther from Swanborough Funerals, I work with, like she goes to all the expos and sees what's happening. I think one thing too is to look about what's happening overseas and seeing what trends are coming up. This is so a prime example of this is Telstra. Since Telstra is now split, from the NBN, their mobile phones are going down. Obviously, landlines are not a big money earner for them anymore. So they're moving into becoming a data company. So stuff is like very soon, every product you buy at a supermarket is going to have a little RFID chip on it. And so that's going to trigger. So when you purchase something, it will trigger something on your phone and they will track what you do with that product. They will track what happens when you get it at home and when you actually use the product, or does it stay in your cupboard? Because your phone's on you all the time and that RFID chip's going to be talking to it. So they're going to start to have all this data. So Telstra is going to become a data company. Facebook is a data company. They give away, every time you share something, they're building up this huge information for you. The credit reporting guy I was talking to last night, it's all about data for them. What information? So they're coming up with this. I don't know whether you know this. They have 400 companies that are constantly reporting back to them about whether you pay your bills on time or not. So they're collecting all this information about you, and then that's what they on-sell. So you can see what's happening in the market in doing that as well. Okay. I think I missed it. So the last one is, so the last key thing that you need to look at is your ongoing costs. And I need to move this. I've got all these little screens that are all over the place here. I don't know whether that's affecting you guys. So costs, so what are the ongoing needs to keep you going? So how much money do you need? So this is where we've got to break your costs down between your fixed costs, stuff that's going to occur, whether or not. So if I don't run any courses this month, it doesn't mean that I don't pay my insurance. I've still got to pay my insurance. I got my subscriptions on my webs stuff, my internet stuff. I've got my mobile phone, all these kind of stuff that is going on. So I've got all the fixed stuff that's happening. But then you've got variable costs. So when you run something, how much profit do you make on that to cover your fixed costs? So key things is learning your break-even point. When is it that you break even? So you could be thinking, wow, we're selling $10,000 a month, which is really great. But if your break-even is $20,000, you're in real trouble. Or if your break-even is $1,000, then you're doing very well. So you've got to know those things and work out those different financial things. Understand your costs, how they occur. So one of the tricks there is to move everything to become as variable expenses as much as you can and moving forward. And your budget is very key in that area as well. Okay, so pretty much that's it for the canvas. So just going through. So they're the key things that you need to go through. So as I said to you before, you grab your little sticky note, you write the different things down. Now, obviously from there, you can develop all the other paperwork that needs to go behind it. But this then is something that you keep before you. So you can think about, for example, message. What is the message that I need to send out? And there may be, I know, Bridget, for example, I might just unmute you for a moment. Unmute. I think you've got to, can you unmute yourself, Bridget? There you go. So, Bridget.
Yep, no problem.
You would have high selling times of the year, don't you? Like so is Christmas time a high selling time?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it starts to pick up from September right through to January. Yeah. Okay. Because we sell outdoor furniture, so it's more in the hotter months.
So you've got to think about when do you start telling people about your specials and things that are going on? Like, does that start in August, or does it start in September, or does it start in July? When people start preparing for those things?
It depends. I mean, it's interesting because even with the weather, a lot of it changes because it's been so warm. Even this winter, you've got a lot more sales of people buying than before. So I'm finding more and more retail is shifting, and that some things that were once quite seasonal can be all year round. Yes. So you've got to be watching your competitors a lot because everyone's trying to watch, and the economy and what's happening in the financial world and what's happening in the world, everyone's sort of, that seems to shift how people buy.
Yes.
So that's interesting. But yes, if you're going to target some sales, mostly people are thinking Christmas, they're thinking groups of people, I need a new setting, I need to do something with my outdoor area because it's coming Christmas time or holidays for the kids and I've got to do something with my outdoors. So, that's a good time to target people with those types of things.
Okay, so you've built out some key things there. Is one, you've got to keep an eye on competitors. I guess you've got to keep an eye on what the trends coming through in new products coming out and being developed as well. And you've got to keep an eye on the weather because if we have a really rainy season, you're not going to sell anything. But
that's right.
Yeah, so you've got a mix of those, and so you need to have different messages ready to go at different times for those kind of things.
That's right.
Excellent. So
I think you're so right about keeping moving and changing because I think I know for us in retail, sometimes with a business, you just want to get it sorted and locked down. I think people by nature don't want to change much. Even with a website, like website's so key, you need to have a presence somewhere. But then you think, I'll just get a website and then I'll be up there. But you have to continually be modifying it, changing it, adding to it because as we all know, to be even present on the web, you need people to see you on the first page. So you need to do that. with Google and with everything else, they want to see that you're adding things to it, you're moving with it. And I think you really got to shift a mindset if you want to, with business, of just trying to stick to one thing. Like you said, you've got to be constantly be sort of, it's a momentum, it's a growing thing. So that's really key. I think in all areas, you're constantly changing, and you see that everywhere, like you said, with McDonald's, with everything, people are constantly changing.
Yeah. So I think, Bridget, that's one of the things why I like this plan so much, is because when it changes, you simply take your sticker off and put another one.
That's right. That's right.
So okay, we look at the weather. We're going to have major storms, or winter. We didn't have winter this year. So do I think about actually bringing forward my summer campaigns and changing my message?
Yes.
So what are the benefits? I'm loving the longer days now. We can get up at 5 o'clock and it's light. We're not. So again, you can change your message, around that kind of thing as well. And distribution would be another thing. Do I distribute my products any other way? Do I look at a different market?
Yeah. That's right. You have to, because Amazon's coming. You know, so we've got to be thinking different, on one level. And what is great really about this system with the whole thing is that it's segmented. So it's not overwhelming to try and change one thing. You can really see it and think, okay, I'm not clear on my message. I need to change my message more. And I think, that's as you watch society and as you talk to your customers and people, and you can see, things that can be shifting away from price even. Like some people aren't even shopping about price. They're shopping more about on a message. They want to know what's happening with money. If you're supporting a not-for-profit, or if you've got a product that, helps the community or something like that, then that's a stronger message. You've got to get that message out. And that's probably one thing we haven't done well, is really, there's a lot behind our business that we've never communicated. And this sort of allows for that, chopping and changing rather than writing your whole thing over again. You can just sort of pick a section. So, I really like it. Yeah,
that's good. So that comes back, Bridget, comes back to telling your story as well, doesn't it?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And your story may change too, but it's about getting it down to something that's succinct and to the point. What is the story behind, I think, was it Paul you're talking about before that, you got made redundant, so now you've had to do this, this, and this. Well, but is that really your story? Is your story that you are a solutions-orientated person? You saw a need in the market and thought, I could help these people. And because of my skill set, I can take that to the market and going from that. So it's those kind of things as well. Okay. Any questions about what we've learned so far? If anyone wants to unmute themselves and ask any questions about that. No, you can see why I like it so much. It's very simple, easy to do. Stick it up on the wall, changing things. And you can think about, you could almost spend like a day a week thinking on a different segment of your business. Thinking, okay, today I need to think about customers. What's going on? Is there a new target customer that I need to aim for? Or what am I doing about retaining my customers? Or are there new problems coming up in the market? Has the government decided to change legislation? Those kind of things. Are there new problems coming up? The economy is going different. What is it? What's the solutions? What are my benefits? What's my advantage? Advantage is you again. So what do I need to be doing to be working on me, your message, again, your distribution? Are there any other options for getting out? And revenue. Do I need, who was it? Microsoft has just increased their monthly Microsoft subscription by $1 a month from $12 to $13. Now you think about that. That's, I don't know how many million customers that they have around the world. That one simple change probably brought them in an extra $1 billion a year in revenue. So because you take that dollar, you multiply it by the number of subscribers they have, multiply it by 12, and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, I've got more money to my bottom line. So even thinking about when was the last time you increased your prices? And go for that. Some of you can't do that because you've got other people, suppliers are saying this is the amount that we need to charge. But So there's some things, or what is an added service that you can add to the product or things that you're adding. And then the other key things is costs. So two things in business: we've got to constantly be increasing our revenue while at the same time managing our costs and doing that. Okay, so that's the canvas. So download it, use it, share it, and do that as much as you can. So the final thing I wanted to talk to you about today is actually the Co-Starters itself, because we've got a mixture of people here online. Some of you have been in business a long time. Some of you are just getting started. So what I am going to stop sharing my screen. And actually, no, I want to share my screen, but go to a different part. That's what I wanted to do.
Wes, while you're doing that, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, you can.
The canvas, I haven't got an A3 printer at home, but if I take it to Officeworks and ask them to do it, they won't, because it's got copyright on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Down in the bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, so you can't just ask them to blow it up from an A4 to an A3?
Yep, I'll do that. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're the problem solver. Yes.
I think there's surely there's a different way of doing this. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to go Firefox. Okay, so let me quickly talk. I keep hitting the wrong button here. Let me quickly talk to you about Co-Starters. So Co-Starters is about, so I said before, it's a 9-week course designed to help people really get their business idea up and going. So some of you are already established, some of you aren't, but some of you also know others who would like to be in business or get up and going. So if you go to, so, boy, don't you love a, if you go to startupsinaustralia.com.au, you'll see that we have, is where everything about Co-Starters in Australia is being put together. So we have, like at the moment, we've started a course which starts this on Thursday nights. So if any of you are interested and welcome to joining us, you can, we allow people to join up in the first 3 weeks, so you can think about that. Or if you know others who would like to start to get involved and want to get their business up and going, we've got a specific one for over 50s coming up in both Brisbane and Sydney. Or if you've got a group of people that you know that would like to start a business, like you may be in a church or another not-for-profit group, or you've just got a group of friends that say, hey, let's get together and do this course, then we're willing to talk with you as well. So all that is at startupsinaustralia.com.au, and my internet is very slow here. Bring on the NBN. So you can see these are the different topics that we go through. So we talk about knowing yourself, knowing your customer, getting your relationships right, building the model to scale, strengthening your structure, discovering the bottom line, accounting for growth, planning for the future, and then at the end we have a pitch night and sharing your story as well. So what I'm finding with this is that, like for example, we're meeting with local city councillors and they're saying this is exactly what we need for our community. So it's being very well received. And you can see one of the reasons why I wanted to do the business canvas with you guys today, which is at the core of everything we go in. You see, we go in detail each week after week on that canvas. So it's the core of what we're doing. And once people see that, think, this makes sense. Let's get this up and going. So there you go. So if anyone's interested in doing the course, please let me know. We can have a one-on-one conversation. Or the other thing, the key thing to start is to actually go and apply now. And that starts the process of joining a course. And then we give you a call, we speak to you, and then we try to match you in with a cohort. The huge thing is it's around building relationships around a business, because we know that about 80% of businesses fail, and a lot of that is because they don't have the support system behind them. So there you go. That's about Co-Starters. So any final questions? I think time is almost up. So has that been helpful for you today, guys? Excellent. Very good. I'm so pleased that you came on. If you've got any other questions, email me or talk to me, and then we can go from there. And I'll make this recording available to you guys. Marilyn.
Is there any chance of us communicating with, say, each other? I mean, I'd like to talk to Paul sometime offline.
Do you guys want to? You can. Well, Paul, is it okay if I give Marilyn your details as a chat? He's saying absolutely. So
Okay.
if you want to, I know if you want to, I can leave this open for a bit. And you can share details, or if you want me to, I could just simply share the emails of everyone who came today. So if you'd like that, I can arrange for that to happen. Yeah. Does anyone have any objections to that? No. Okay. Okay. Good. Excellent.
Thank you.
Well,
Bye.
thank you. So this was good practice for me. You guys are like I've explained it at the course, but it's different doing it online and different doing as a thing. So thank you for your interaction today. I really appreciate that. And it's, it's been
Thank
really
you, Wes.
No worries.
Thanks, Wes.
Thank you guys. Let's talk again soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.